Mark, I think the mayor's muted. I'm not sure if maybe he stepped away.
I heard you. I heard you.
Okay,
Sorry about that. I didn't have my camera. I didn't have the camera.
no problem. We're ready whenever you are.
Okay, one moment, please. Oh, one moment. Mark, let me know when we're ready to go.
Mayor, we are ready to go.
Okay, all right. All right. First of all, good evening to everyone. Just want to let, for our audience sake, that we do have a Spanish translator. So the meeting itself is being translated simultaneously as well. So thank you. At this point, I will go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the closed session. We have nothing to report out. So that is my motion.
Second.
It's seconded by whom? Who's seconded?
Councilmember Ayala.
Councilmember Ayala, any objections? See none, so all right. Thank you very much. All right, so at this point, I'd like to go ahead and open up the Baldwin Park City Council regular virtual meeting today, November the 8th, 2020. And I will also open that along with the Housing Authority and the Finance Authority. So at this point, I believe we have Pastor Flores that will lead us in an invocation. So we'll go ahead and Pastor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Let's pray. Thank you for the opportunity. Holy Father, we thank you for this meeting, gathering, this virtual opportunity we have, God, to think, to work together, to consider the opportunities we have before us. We pray in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of pain and loss of life, suffering, challenges to the economy, somehow, some way we experience your love and we experience your presence. Thank you for the opportunity we have to serve. I pray for wisdom for our leaders. Thank you for our officials. Thank you for those who serve in law enforcement. We pray for your protection. We pray, God, for insight, Lord, from mayor to council to all on staff. Gracias, Señor, por este momento, este privilegio para servir aquí en esta ciudad de Baldwin Park. Gracias por su presencia en medio de esta pandemia. Gracias por tu redención, Señor, y su gracias. We thank you for your redemption and your grace. Bless us now with your grace. From the Lord Jesus Christ, who taught us how to pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Pastor Flores, I want to, first of all, thank you as the mayor of the city of Baldwin Park. This is my last and official meeting with an agenda. I will be here December the 2nd on my birthday, which that's when we will do the ceremonial transition to a new mayor. I want to thank you, thank your wife, thank the Church of the Redeemer for everything you have done in the city of Baldwin Park. I've always admired you because you've also intervened in a couple of things that affected me personally with some good friends, and you brought us back together, and you're a special person. So I hope that you can join us on December 2nd, my birthday, the day of transitions. I want someone like you who have been so special to this community in many ways. And I really want you to know that not only I admire you, but I see you as a mentor, but you are an example of someone that literally leads this community as well as a pastor and in many ways. And I want you to know that. So thank you very much. And a reminder also that I live in Baldwin Park, so I'm still going to be active and probably more vocal since I won't be an elected official. All right,
Great.
thank you, Pastor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well.
I appreciate your words and the opportunity you've given us to serve and be part of the community. And our prayers are with you.
Thank you, Pastor Flores. All right, so at this point, I will refer over to our Deputy City Clerk to take roll call.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Councilmember Avila.
Here.
Councilmember Ayala.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez,
Present.
Mayor Lozano.
Present. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm here too.
Oh, that's right. Our city treasurer, Miss Marie Contreras. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
in Arizona, but I'm there.
That's right. That's right. Thank you very much as well, to our Deputy City Clerk, Lulu. Want to also read something for the record that we are required. Council are also members of the Board of Directors of the Housing Authority and Finance Authority, which are concurrently convening with the City Council this evening. And each council member is paid an additional stipend of $30 for attending the housing meeting and $50 for attending the Finance Authority meeting. So at this point, I will now go ahead and go into any callers for public communication.
Yes, we do, Mayor. Let me go ahead and make a call.
Yeah, let's go and do that first, and we'll go up to the update of the housing. Thank you.
This is Catherine Lozer from the Baldwin Park Library.
Catherine, good evening. Thank you for being here.
I'm still calling, sorry.
Oh, okay, all right.
Hello. Hi, this is Catherine.
Catherine, this is Manny Lozano, Mayor of Baldwin Park. Thank you for calling in, and you have approximately 3 minutes for telecommunication. Thank you.
So good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, community partners, and fellow community members. As mentioned, my name is Catherine Lozier, and I am the Community Library Manager of the Baldwin Park Library. I wanted to take a moment to thank the city and Deputy City Clerk, Ms. Morales, for your assistance during the recent election, the temporary 1-hour parking along the red curb zone along Baldwin Park Boulevard, and the police department's presence overnight was exceptionally appreciated, so thank you for that. The police presence was especially helpful as the library has been unfortunately experiencing some vandalism overnight with graffiti and some tampering to our exterior electrical outlets. We do have a sheriff department that provides us service during library hours, but we have had some recent challenges during the evening hours. And one of our deputies has reached out to the Baldwin Park Police Department for continued assistance with perimeter patrol when we are closed. So we're hopeful that this could help. But on more positive topics, I did want to just take a moment to announce the library. LA County Library has a new service. It's called More Books to Explore. Since libraries are closed to in-person visits, we are bringing readers advisory to customers in a new way. This is library staff helping to make book selections with customers. This new service, More Books to Explore, will allow customers to share their reading preferences with the local library staff, including myself. And library staff will help curate a book list of 5 titles to match their interests. Customers can share their reading preferences by filling out an online form, and then they'll get an email with these curated lists of 5 book titles that they can put on hold. And library staff are available to help place the request. You can visit lacountylibrary.org or give us a call at 626-962-6947 for assistance. Thank you so much. This again was Catherine from the Baldwin Park Library.
All right, thank you very much, Catherine. Appreciate your participation.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to the next caller.
Thank you. The next caller is Ms. Beatriz Sandoval, and let me call her now.
Ms. Lulu, Deputy City Clerk?
Sorry, Mayor, the call isn't going through. Let me try that one more time. Sorry, Mayor, the call isn't.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you, Deputy City Clerk. Vice Mayor Hernandez, thank you for reminding me. At this point, I will ask council members to please, if you have a flag, I will stand. I'm in the chambers and we're going to say Pledge of Allegiance. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands,
and
one
one
nation.
nation, under God,
God,
indivisible,
visible,
liberty and
liberty,
justice for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to everyone. All right, so at this point, what we do have on the agenda is the update on the general housing fund. So presented by Director of Finance, Ms. Rose Tram. Rose, yes. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. And yeah, Rose and I just wanted to have her give you a quick update on the general fund and on the housing funds. The city is doing well, and we just wanted to get this out there because there has been some misinformation circulated. So with that, Rose, Tam, if you could go ahead and outlay some of the facts for us. Thank you.
All right, Rose, thank you.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and City Council, city staff, and community members. My name is Rose Tam. I'm the Director of Finance for the city. I have been with the city since 2007. Tonight, I'm going to update you on the general fund and housing fund. Next slide, please. This chart shows the last 10 years of general fund reserve balance. As you may see, it has exceeded the city's financial policy of 10% of the general fund operating expenditures requirement. This ensures long-term physical health of the city. Also, the general fund reserve has increased from 5.9 million to 9.5 million because the city has always taken a proactive approach. This accomplishment is despite economical challenges, including the recent COVID-19 situation. Next slide, please. This chart shows the last 10 years of Housing Section 8 fund. The big drop you see here is due to the changes in reserve funding policies from HUD starting in 2011. These policy changes apply to all public housing agencies, not just to the city of Baldwin Park. Next slide, please. This is the city's quarterly treasurer's report as of September 30, 2020, showing where the city's cash and investments are. This report is presented to the City Council and the general public on a quarterly basis. It is also available on the city's website. Next, please. This slide shows the labor cost allocation charge for administrative costs to Housing Section 8 fund as a percentage of the employee's total salary. As you may see, there are no charges for the stipends or any other costs for the elected officials. Also, there is only a small percentage that are charged by supporting staff other than housing staff. Next, please. Here's a brief summary of a long-term and proactive actions that the city has taken in the last few years. The city has refinanced the 2004 community center lease revenue bond to provide an estimated 1.7 million in savings. We also refinanced 4 successor agency bonds to provide an estimated 1.8 million in savings and additional $500,000 sales tax returned to the general fund annually. We also issued the pension obligation bond to pay down the pension unfunded liability that will provide an estimated 23 million in savings. The estimated total savings from the bond-related transactions is about 26.5 million. This is a huge long-term financial benefit to the city. The city also received the rating of AA- from Standard & Poor's. This is the best possible rating a city can normally earn under current municipal economic conditions. The city also received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting from the Government Financial Officer Association of the United States and Canada for over a decade. This award represents the highest award in government financial reporting. The city's general fund reserve continued to increase over the last 10 years from 5.9 to 9.5 million. The city will continue to monitor the financial position and safeguard the city's assets and taxpayers' money to ensure its long-term physical health. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for the City Council's support and continued guidance. Any questions?
Rose, allow me to, first of all, say I want to thank you, thank the CEO, and thank all the team that have participated in making certain that the city remains whole. I want to make it very clear to all the current elected that will remain here and those incoming, I will hold you accountable. There's a $9 million surplus, so that says a lot. Other cities or neighboring cities are not at that area. I know that Almani's at 15 million reserve, of course, a much bigger city with bigger revenue. West Covina can't say the same thing because they're having major issues financially. Standard & Poor's has rated the city of Ballpark at AA-. That is exceptional for any city. So it's important for us to understand the importance of keeping ourselves at that level. And also being recognized for over a decade in our finance reporting sends a very clear message to a lot of people. Unfortunately, the propaganda that was gathered out in social media is unfortunate. But again, as I leave on December the 2nd, remind each and every one of you that I will not be an elected official, and I am anticipating on being extremely vocal in issues that are affecting the residents of the city of Baldwin Park. But thank you, Rose, and thank you as well, Shannon, and all the participants that have continuously assisted in making certain that the city of Ballpark is operating above board and continuously overlooking that we are not overspending at all. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you all the City Council members for your continued guidance and your support and all your dedication too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. If there's no other questions on that, it appears we had a technical glitch on our end, and the Deputy City Clerk is able now to get through to Beatrice if we want to give that call a try.
Yes, she's waiting for the call. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's fine.
Okay, go ahead, Lulu.
Go ahead.
Mayor,
Hello?
there's no other questions on that. It
Oops,
appears
sorry.
we had a technical
She has
problem
feedback.
on our end that, the deputy city
Hello?
is
Sí,
able
sí,
now
Miss
to-
Beatriz.
Hold on, un momento. Hold on. All right. Okay, at this point, Beatriz, buenas noches. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
I hope all of you are fine, healthy, and following the rules, staying home. You know, the pandemic comes first. So, but I hope all of you are fine, healthy, and with your family. Thank you for this time and this opportunity to speak out about different items in the agenda. And my first concern is the Spanish speaker need to let the city city clerk we 48 hours in advance. You know, it's so difficult to be in this meeting. You can see, try to communicate. Also, the calls are difficult. So I think so. It's not good for our Spanish community, Spanish speakers. Also for me, you know. But I want to say. I want to encourage all of you to approve the service agreement between the cities, Baldwin and Monte, to fund some Major J.H. grant. And this is an amazing grant for our residents, our neighbors who are unhoused and who are have that terrible experience to living in the streets in Baldwin Park. I know our city is working hard to keep our families in homes. So this agreement will be great resource for our community and for our residents. But also I want to remember to the Major Age monies is yes to prevent homelessness and bring services for our unhoused neighbors. But also we need to do our part, as you say, as we have monies and a healthy economic or financial, healthy financial in our city. So why not looking forward to move a low income housing where residents, long-time residents of Baldwin Park can be in this city for more years and give our community, our culture, and all, and protect our families and stay in this community to prevent displacement, to prevent gentrification, and to protect. We need produce housing in this city.
Okay, Beatriz, we ran out of time. We ran out of time. I want to thank you very much and looking forward as well, because I know you'll be involved working and I'll be also doing my activity out in the community as well. So thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to say thank you for your services, service to our community.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Beatriz. I appreciate your words. Thank you. All right. Was that the only speakers that had registered, Deputy City Clerk?
Yes, Mayor, that was all.
It was all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. So at this point, we'll go over to consent calendars. So we have items 1 through 13, I believe. Yes, council members wishing to pull any items?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to pull items 6 and 9, please.
All righty, one moment. So items 6 and 9 will be pulled. All right, council members wishing to pull any other items? If not, at this point, I will entertain a motion to move for consent calendars from, with the exception of item number 6 and 9. That is my motion. Is there a second? Second by Vice Mayor Hernandez. Any objections? Seeing none, so move. All right, the first item that was requested by our council member Alejandra Avila was the item 6, which is the adoption of resolution number 2020-057, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Baldwin Park, California, adopting the amended fee schedule for solid waste collection and recycling services to reflect Consumer Price Index CPI increase for fiscal year 2020-2021. All right, at this point, Councilmember Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone listening. I just want to say the reason this item is on here is because it was brought up. We had a public hearing, and it is contractual. So this contract was written up on September 4th, 2013. It's a 10-year contract, and in this contract there was an agreement that there would be a rate increase every year. I just want the residents of Baldwin Park to understand that is a contract that we need to abide by, because we said that's what we're going to do. And it's the increase, it's just based on the CPI. We held it back a few months, so now the increase will be retro. But I want to reassure the residents, Waste Management is doing an excellent service. They are going over and above during these hard times of COVID. If you've noticed when you're driving out on your streets, there's a lot of more bulky items. They're picking up as needed. If we call them, they're there every Friday to pick up the bulky items. And again, this is a contract. I want you to understand we need to abide by this contract. And so I just wanted to make it clear to the residents that we need to go ahead and move with this item. So just having said that, I want to go ahead and approve, motion to approve item 6, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify for our residents that we needed to move forward with this.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor by Councilmember Alejandra Avila. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hernandez. Any objections? Seeing none, so moved. Thank you. And I just want to, and I thank you very much, Councilmember Alejandra Avila, for the clarification. This is a contractual obligation that the city of Baldwin Park has entered. Unfortunately, yes, it has hit during the coronavirus. However, Waste Management has worked with the city of Baldwin Park as well. So thank you very much for your point of clarification to the general public with reference to the Consumer Price Index, CPI. All right, at this point, we'll go over to item number 9, requested by Councilmember Alejandra Avila, consideration of an extension to the exclusive negotiation agreement, ENA, with the Olsen Urban Housing LLC for a proposed for sale housing development in downtown Baldwin Park. So at this point, I will refer over to my colleague, Councilmember Alejandra Avila.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that. Is the Olsen Company with us? Are they here? I thought I saw somebody was here.
Yes, they are.
Okay, but I just want to know, before we do anything with this, I would like some more clarification on what has been happening with the ENA. So before we give an extension, if we can have a report from staff on how the Olsen Company has been moving forward with the ENI, how much they have progressed, and so that we can look at it, see what's going on, and find out the reason why they need another ENA. But I would like a clear report from staff before we do that, and then have the Olsen Company come back and speak to us about it once we have the report from you. So my motion is to move this item over so that we can have that report to know where they're at with their ENA and what have they done, what do they need help with, more information on why they need that extension.
All right, so at this point, it appears that Councilmember Alejandra Avila, if I heard you correct, you just made a motion to move this over to a following meeting. Am I correct?
Yes, but to bring back a staff report with details on what's been going on with the ENA, how much have they progressed with the ENA, what is going on, why is it that they need an extension, and have the Olsen Company here actually on that day, the next meeting, so they can have conversation with us and the public can hear what's going on.
All right, that's fine. Okay, is there?
Councilmember, I'm sorry, before we take a vote, if you don't mind, is the Olsen Company online now, Ben?
My understanding is they are.
They are attendees. I can allow them to join the talk.
Can we, just to, can we ask them, if possible, just to answer some of the questions that Councilmember Avila just asked and staff could answer at this moment, please? And if we need further information, I'd be happy to second the nomination, but if we have the staff now, I'd like to hear their response now.
Well, if they're here, let's hear it, but I would like a detailed report, please. Go ahead, if they're here.
Okay, so at this point, Ben, let's go ahead and introduce the whomever.
Yes, yes, Mayor and council members, I'd like to introduce Doris Nguyen from the Olsen Company. I will say that the Olsen Company is a very active housing developer, not only here in this city and many cities throughout the Southern California region. In my other positions with other cities, I've done and seen, witnessed many projects that the Olson Company has completed. They're excellent at what they do. They are very detail oriented, and they understand the process. During the E&A period, before I allowed Doris to give more details, they have diligently pursued this site. One of the things you have to do before you consider a housing development is talk to all of the utilities that impact this site, because you need to understand the lay of the land, where the housing units and streets are gonna be, and how they're gonna impact the sewer, water, all the utilities, cable, and so forth. So that takes sometimes a good year or so, at least, to do that if you do a good job of it. And during COVID and so forth, there's been many, delays in all these processes. So they've completed this process, and they've now delivered a site plan. Just last week, we approved, where we looked at their final site plan with the city manager, and we basically gave it a green light, and they are very near now submitting the official entitlement package to the city. So they've made a lot of progress. They're proposing 24 units on the site, and associated, parking and landscaping and so forth. And they've really come up with a nice plan. I'll let Doris add any other details, because I'm sure there's a lot of things I'm leaving out. But Doris, if you can please add a few details. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Doris Nguyen, and I'm the Vice President of Development with the Olson Company. Thank you so much for allowing us to speak today. I really appreciate it. So we've actually been quite diligently analyzing the site. We've been working on soil studies, environmental studies, civil surveys. We've been looking at the title. The site is actually quite old. And because of that, we had to do things like validate the property size. There were some questions about the dimensions. We're in the process of clearing title restrictions. We're looking at all the different utilities, the same thing that Ben just discussed. It was quite extensive, talking to sewer, water, gas, phone. We talked to SCE a couple times, fiber optics, all these different things we had to analyze, find the different lines to see where they were buried over the last several decades. We also hosted a community meeting. We conducted a parking study. We've talked to LA County Fire several times about the project. So there's quite a lot that we've been able to accomplish. And all of that led to a site plan that we've now submitted to the city, and we're ready to move forward with and discuss. So that's a, kind of the gist of all the things that we've been doing this whole time. And exactly what Ben said, due to COVID, there's just been quite a lot of delays in trying to, get a hold of people. Not everyone's in the office, and, finding time to speak to them, and with their availability and things like that. So that's why we're asking for the extension. So the extension will allow us to move forward towards the entitlement process.
Right, and I understand there's been a lot of problems with COVID, but that's the reason why I would like to see a report with, what were your community meetings like? What was your outcome? And more details. You mentioned all the things you have been doing, but I would like to see more details detailing the exact work that you've been doing, especially the community input. I want to know what they had to say. So if you could do that first, and then we can bring this back, I would really appreciate that.
Sure. I'm happy to tell you now if that's a possibility. The community input. I'm available and ready now if that's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can go ahead and tell. I really would like to see a written report. I mean,
okay.
I'd like to have it in front of me and mark my report and see what I'm reading. If that's okay.
I did read what you have submitted, and it's pretty extensive, so that the council members know. So, did everyone read the report or not read the report?
I read some of it.
Okay,
Yes.
it's pretty extensive, but let's go ahead and go into the community input.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So in the community meeting, there were about 3 people who attended. Only one really spoke. She was the business owner of the Allstate business, and she was concerned. She just had kind of general questions about what we were constructing and where. She had questions about whether we are purchasing all the commercial properties that line the parking lot site, and the answer was definitely no. And so she was concerned about her business. She was also concerned about how people would access the site. So, you know, would we punch through to get to Main Street, you know, things like that. She was concerned about that. She was concerned about, you know, parking and, you know, would people still be able to get to her business? You know, that was important to her, and kind of just what the site would look like after it was constructed. She had questions about, you know, construction timing and things like that. So just very normal, typical questions we get in an infill development type of project.
And what kind of responses did you have for her? I mean, how
Sure,
many
sure.
community meetings did you have?
We've had the one.
Just one?
Yeah, due to COVID, we normally would. I tried to have one right before COVID, but because the state closure, we actually had to cancel it. It happened to be just that same week.
Just to clarify on the community outreach, the first community outreach meeting was before anything was designed. So it's just to reach out and get input before anything's designed. As we go into the entitlement process and have an actual design, we'll have several other outreach meetings. So it was just the first of several.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that's, I get it. COVID is not permitting for us to have meetings, but it just doesn't seem like enough input or questions that business owners may have that are in the surrounding area, or community members that go to the park in that area. So
we definitely plan on moving forward and having more meetings with, you know, the adjacent businesses. You know, now that we have a site plan that we're looking at, we just wanted initial, you know, input just so that we can start the design is what we're looking for. So we wanted to hear their concerns to make sure we were addressing it when we designed it, so that now that we have a design, now we can go and reach out to each of the individual businesses and then talk to them about it, saying, you know, this is how we address those concerns that we heard.
So what's
Mr. Mayor, this is John Reekston with the Olson Company. The city manager had actually suggested on our last call that we do a study session with the city council to show you our progress, since we've made such great headway on the site plan. And the only reason we asked for the extension was with the upcoming holidays and the expiration after the first of the year, that we, as well as you, have certainty regarding our relationship going forward, so we can then present our concept to the council, continue the neighborhood outreach, and move forward in earnest, knowing that we'll have time to do so. So that's why we're here this evening.
And Councilmember Avila, if you can perhaps entertain this secondary motion, perhaps. If I certainly understand your concerns, and you know those are all valid. You know, I think the Olson Company has certainly done you know, some outreach. I think, you know, my expectation, and perhaps even Councilmember Avila's expectation, is even under COVID, you know, we can continue to host, you know, webinars and, you know, Zoom meetings and outreaches. You know, what I would like to do, ma'am, is for us to, you know, extend, you know, instead of 6 months, you know, we'll extend this, you know, 4 months of the ENA, ask for the report that Councilmember Avila has requested, you know, schedule a study session in January once we have the new council members that are going to be here with us. And then you can, you know, thoroughly provide us additional information. And more importantly, the new council members and mayors will be able to also provide some feedback into the process, and, you know, hopefully provide, you know, much more, perhaps a better outreach program or efforts, you know, given where we're at with COVID.
Can I go,
Yeah,
Mayor, before there's action taken, I'd like to, if I may, make some comments. And for the Olson Company, this is Council Member Monica Garcia. And I've worked in the real estate development world, and I appreciate that you have moved this along in a year, given the unique circumstances of this year with COVID. And I do think that a 6-month period is very reasonable, because there is a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of coordination. And if we are highlighting that we want to have more community input, 6 months, I think, allows us to do that. Plus, getting the site plan, getting more of the specifics of this project. Because if I may, the ENA, the exclusive negotiating agreement, it's an opportunity for the developer to really study the site and pull all the components together, including the community outreach piece. And in my experience, 18 months it's a reasonable amount of time to be able to do that. Projects, they don't move forward in 6 months or 1 year. 18 months is a reasonable amount of time. And, we can certainly focus on the community piece in the next 6 months. With COVID, we don't know what that's going to look like. And so, there might be a 6-month period would lend itself for having Zoom meetings with specific groups, whereas a 4-month period might even hinder that because it's a unique time. The developer can't just post, oh, we're having a community meeting, everybody come. If you really want to have a conversation around, what do you want to see here? And then when there's some shape of that project that can be presented, then you want to get some additional feedback perhaps. But 6 months will give us the time versus 4 months, especially during COVID. And so I hear what you're saying, Councilmember Avila. I have worked in the real estate development world, and I do think that this company has really shown, a good faith effort, especially given the COVID-19 circumstances that we've been dealing with. I will say that, even expedited projects in the past that I worked on, entitlement process will usually take 18 months expedited. So this is not unusual. And especially during COVID, I think, our staff has not necessarily been in the office full time. I mean, yes, we are working remotely and there are challenges even with that. So I can only imagine what it's been like working with some of these other public agencies. And I do want to just take a couple of steps back and look at the broader vision of our downtown area. And this has been an effort, a vision that has developed for more than 10 years. And the idea is to activate our downtown, to revitalize our downtown with a mix of uses and a mix of incomes. And so, more recently, we opened the Brome, which is a mixed use project with very low and moderate income housing. We are now proposing a second and third phase of that. So there will be some very low, moderate and income, housing that will be developed, hopefully as we move forward. And then with Olson having a market rate, we really want to be able to activate our downtown area. That's the vision. And Olson has stepped up on a site that others have passed on. And so let's not lose the opportunity. I think that Olson has been working in good faith with the city, and let's also work in good faith with Olson, because having worked for a real estate development company, and I'm sorry I keep repeating that, but there is a lot of money, thousands of dollars that go into the ENA process. And so I am positive that Olson has invested a lot of money already. So I will support Council or Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez's motion, but I would ask you, Mayor Pro Tem, if you would extend that for the full 6 months, because especially during COVID, every everything will make a difference, so that we have the best project possible.
Okay.
Excuse me if I
Thank
may.
you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So let me just make this clear, Doris. It's not that I see the work that you've done. I have family that's in the development business. So I've never worked in it, but I hear them and I join conversations with them and I know all the work it takes. Just alone, when I had my house built, it took a long time. So I know what it's like, a simple little one house project. And I can't even imagine the big project you're doing. That's not the point at all. It's not that I'm not in agreement with what you're doing or the work that you're doing. It's just that your ENA doesn't expire until January. All I'm really asking is just hold it for the next meeting, have that report ready so that we can look at it and go through it and then we can move forward from there. I'm not saying, no, you don't need an extension. Of course, you're going to need more time to complete the project. I just want to see the full report, everything that you discussed, so I can take my time and read it, and then we can put it on the next agenda. That's all I'm asking. That's the motion that I'm making.
Okay, so at this point, let me go back. So there's a motion by Councilmember is for another meeting. So is there a second? Okay, the
Just
motion.
for the next meeting. That's all I'm asking.
Hold on. Okay, is there a second? Okay, the motion drops. The motion drops for lack of seconds. So at this point, is there a substitute? I think there was a substitute motion by Councilmember Hernandez. Am I correct?
Correct, sir. I would just add, I'm going to modify my motion just to go to the 6 months and still ask for the report and everything that Councilmember Avila has asked for. I only, I'm now moving towards a 6 month, not because, also for the many reasons that Councilmember Garcia has mentioned, but also because, we are facing an increase and an uprise in COVID right now in our community. And one of the things that we are asking for folks are to stay home, stay away, and stay at their homes. And the increase that's happening right now is probably going to, I'm hoping that it goes down over the next couple of days, but we are possibly looking at another safer at home order that will be probably released before Thanksgiving. If that's, if things don't improve with the number of people with a positive rate. So with that, I'll make the change to 6 months.
All right, thank you. I'll go ahead and second. Any objections?
Objection.
Okay, one objection. So at this point, Madam City Clerk, if we could take roll call, please. And that is regarding the motion, the substitute motion that was presented by Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Avila?
No.
Councilmember Ayala? Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry.
Councilmember Ayala?
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Hernandez?
Yes.
And Mayor Lozano?
Yes. Okay, the motion passes a 4-1. All right, so
Thank you, Mayor. And I just, again, all I needed is another meeting so I can look at this information, no harm done. That's all I needed, and a little respect would have been nice. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I just want to, before we go on, first of all, let me thank the Olson Company. You provided substantial amount of information and data, so I really want to thank you for that. They have a history of providing to low to moderate income, and in Baldwin Park, have a lot of people that we obviously know are in a great need of housing. We want to be able to provide that. Now, all the council members know my biggest beef with some of these projects that we cannot accommodate our own residents, and I will probably continue to disagree right through the whole process, and maybe eventually, hopefully, take that to the state level, because I will be extremely vocal over that. It bugs me, and it has nothing to do with the Olson Company. It's just all these low to moderate, because it involves state and involves federal. So it's not their fault. That's just the way the system is designed. And I want to thank the Olson for the beautiful project that's here now. And of course, for many years, we have never had anyone that, well, we've had developers that have looked across the street, but at the end of the day, they just said the number doesn't pan out. And this time it does. So I look forward to the community input. But as Vice Mayor stated, we're in the midst of a COVID, so it's going to be impossible to do that. And if this coming Friday, this curfew that will take into effect, possibly maybe followed the following week by stay at home. So it's going to be very difficult for every one of us. Now, Council Member Alejandra Avila and I both have contacted COVID-19. So we know what a bad experience it is. So I just want to let that know. And again, I won't be here, but remember, you guys, I'm not going to be elected official, so I will definitely be participating in some of these public communications as well. All right. So at this point, we'll go ahead and move over to the next items that we have on the agenda. I'll be right with you. We have the City Council acting as a successor agency of the dissolved Community Development Commission consent calendar. So at this point, I'll go ahead and make a motion for both items. I'll read it out. SA-1 successor agency to dissolve Community Development Commission of the City of Baldwin Park wants and demands. SA-2, the successor agency to dissolve Community Development Commission of the City of Baldwin Park and Treasure Report. 3, which is SA-3, City Council Resolution number 2020-059 and successor agency resolution number SA 2020-002 regarding transfer of Morgan Park land and successor agency to the city. That is my motion for all three to pass.
Second.
All right. Second, any objections? See none, so move. All right. So I'll just read the entitled resolution of the successor agency to the City of Baldwin Park Community Development Commission approving the transfer of property of the City of Baldwin Park. So at this point, thank you very much. Councilmember Alejandra Avila seconded. Was there any objections? See none, so move. Okay, reports of officers, item 14, resolution 2020-058 agreement for temporary employment. Staff recommends that the city council approve a resolution authorizing the mayor, that's me, by the way, to execute a part-time temporary employment agreement. Council members wishing to vote or take a motion on that? Hello?
And Mayor, this item is required by PERS to be on the report of officers. It's not allowed to be on consent. So, and then with my retirement, this will allow me to come back and work for the city as we transition and bring in a new person.
Very good. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and make a motion for resolution 2020-058 agreement for temporary employment. That is my motion.
Second.
Second, any objections? See none, so move. All right, so we'll go over to the next item, that which is 15, amending municipal code regarding purchasing officer designation and updating purchasing policy and procedures. Okay, so staff recommends that the city council review and approve the attached ordinance amending the municipal code regarding the purchasing officer designation and updating the purchasing policy and procedures. So at this point, who's going to be handling this? Oh, here's a summary.
Yes, Mayor, this summary was sent out to everybody earlier today. There are some updates that are recommended. The State Controller's Office did have some concerns about our purchasing policy and how it was being authorized. The current code is actually somewhat confusing and is somewhat vague in some instances. And then in other instances, it's not in line with current state law. So the revision to that will make it easier for staff to comply with it and then bring us in line with state law. If you have any other questions, Finance Director Rose Tam is here to answer those.
All right, any questions by council members? Seeing none, so at this point, we'll go ahead and just go with this. I guess I'll read it as an amendment, right? At this point, I'd like to move the amending municipal code regarding purchasing officers that, regarding the purchasing of officers designation, updating the purchasing policy and procedure. That is my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Hernandez. Any objections? See none, so move. All right. So at this point, I guess that's the ending of that city. At this point, council members have any requests or anything before I adjourn?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Alejandra Avila.
I have a request.
Sure.
You were just talking about the COVID cases, how they've gone up. As of today, Baldwin Park has 3,788 cases. I would like for Shannon to bring back a report of what we are doing as a city. I know the county has guidelines in place, and as of Friday, the retail stores are going to have only 25% capacity, outdoor restaurants 50%, and restaurants should be closed from 10 to 6 because of the spike in COVID. So my concern is, how are we making sure that our retailers, our restaurants, they're following the guidelines? And first, before I continue, I want to thank code enforcement, because yesterday I ran into them and they were on their way out to visit a couple of restaurants, and which is what we need to do. we need to make sure and be vigilant for our restaurants. We need to make sure that our retail, our restaurants, our families, they're all following the guidelines, because 3,788 cases for Baldwin Park is too much. And I understand we're following guidelines for LA County, but I think we need to do more. Go, and I'm not knocking Walmart, but go to the parking lot in Walmart, it's packed. I don't think they're maintaining the percentage of people that need to be in there. That is not okay. We need to slow the growth of COVID cases in Baldwin Park. I've personally known a lot of people, know you, Mayor, plus other people. Some unfortunately have passed, families, coworkers. We need to really get tough on this situation and enforce in our city the guidelines, or make them stricter if need be. Because if we continue this way, we continue to make the cases worse in the LA County, then we will have another complete shutdown, which I hope we don't. But just what we're doing starting effective Friday, that is not looking good. So I really would like Shannon to please give me a detailed report on how we will combat this. I know our police department was helping with this before. I don't know if they are. So if you can give us a detailed report on who's doing what, how are we tracking the cases? And I know that they're all confidential, but what are we doing to make sure that our restaurants and retails are following the guidelines and keeping the percentage of people that should be in their facilities, so that we can stay here in the city of Baldwin Park? The surrounding cities don't have as many cases as we do. Why is it that Baldwin Park has more cases than our surrounding cities? So that's very concerning to me. So I think we need to put a stronger code out there, and have our code enforcement out there. Put a plan in place. I don't even know where to start, Paul. I know you've worked with the emergency response teams before. What can we do to slow the pace of COVID in the city of Baldwin Park? I'm not okay with it, and I think we need to do more. So please, Shannon, I need to get something in writing. If we need to get together as council and brainstorm on what it is we can do to slow the COVID in Baldwin Park, well, then let's do this. Let's have a special meeting and create a plan for Baldwin Park. Not follow just LA County law and rules, but let's create one for Baldwin Park that's really effective and it's going to work for our community. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing that up. I'll give you a good example. I was at Walmart 2 days ago, and there's an actual person counting the amount of people going into the actual store itself. It may not seem that there's a crowd control, but there actually is, because there's a number. Target does the same thing as well when you go in there. So they're monitoring. Yes, maybe there's room for improvement, of course.
Yes.
And I would definitely agree. I think in general for us, and I plan on doing actually have a little small video that I will be placing out there and remind residents of Baldwin Park that we need to be conscientious of ourselves. You and I know what it's like, and there's the 3,000 that you just reported as well. So it's important. We live in a community of 75,000 them and plus more, 6.7 square miles. So a lot of us have a tendency of being very active. We'll give you a good example. We'll mention the person's name. Last Saturday, I was invited to a quinceañera, and they weren't happy when I said, one, I wasn't going to go. Two, you cannot have a large group of people gathering, and this is where it spreads on to the families and eventually affects everyone. So we need to be very cautious of that, and I think that we ourselves need to make sure that we're constantly sending out the messages, and it's up on the actual marquee, so people know. Unfortunately, people take risks, and others go out to other communities. You come home, and guess what? The whole entire family is affected. So yes, we need to do more, and the county, of course, has its form and its way to communicate to the 88 cities, which is $10.5 million, 10 point some odd million people on population, but each city has a responsibility. And again, I think we have been continuously sending a message, but we need to send a stronger message that everyone needs to be very cautious and don't meet around or go to major gatherings, and stay home whenever you can. Then at the same time, I had one person called me up about a week ago indicating to me that I was violating his constitutional rights for one of the videos. He actually sent me a video that I had where I was showing about wearing the mask, that I had no right to force that on him, and he had the First Amendment right. Of course, everyone does, and you're going to have those that are going to agree and disagree. But the reality is that you know what, it can cause lies as well.
And it has, and you know people, and I know people, and that's my concern. These mass gatherings. I mean, you drive around the city and you see by the amount of cars parked that there's a party going on, or you hear music. So what? That's what I want to know. What are we doing? What are we telling our residents? And I know the police has gone to certain homes to tell them, hey, you can't, you have to stop your party, what have you. But what are we doing? Is it working? Is it not working? What can we do different to let our people know how important it is that they follow these guidelines to protect them, to protect everybody in Baldwin Park? So I want to report on that. I want to see what we're doing. And again, let's brainstorm at City Council. Let's have a special meeting and brainstorm on what it is we can do to help stop the COVID spread. Thank you.
Thank you, council member. And we will provide that information to the city council. And when there is a change for the worse in the county's orders, especially, we do ramp things up. The mayor mentioned the marquees. We're getting this out on the public works message boards are back out again. We're looking about putting messages on the billboards on the freeways. When there's changes like this, code enforcement goes door to door to every business and restaurant and gives them a flyer based on the new changes. So we will follow up on that. It's hard to say why Baldwin Park has a higher rate. I think the mayor did touch on something that we found, you know, at City Hall. It's very, very rare that it's being passed on in the workplace. We're finding that the few employees that have had it, you know, are catching it from family. And, you know, we have a city that's very, very family oriented and places a high value on family. And sometimes they're not very careful about that. But we will get back to you, let you know everything that's going on. And if the council would like to do a study session later in January, we can certainly arrange that.
Thank you, Shannon. And again, thank code enforcement. I ran into them and they were out going to go do their rounds to a few restaurants that I won't mention, but I was very happy to see that they were doing that. So thank you, code enforcement.
Just want to also mention there was a call that was received here at City Hall, and all of us need to know, resident to use some pretty strong language, very upset that one of our representatives in Sacramento was in Maui or wherever it was at. And again, as you know, it was in the news and it was Baldwin Park. Okay, we're back in the news over that. So that does not send a positive message nor an example. So just to let everyone know, and if the person is hearing this or recording, the person is not part of the city council. The person is a representative, a state assembly that represents us. And I think that was just a poor choice, unfortunately. So we'll move on from that point. All right, thank you very much. So,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Vice Mayor Hernandez.
Thank you. If Shannon and the chief, if we could have a report back in regards to establishing a reward program for information that leads to the conviction of, you know, serious crimes. You know, I know last week that we, I believe, yes, last week we had a hit and run driver, you know, hit, I believe, a 71-year-old woman crossing the street, who I believe is also a West Covina resident, but I think she was still homeless regardless. So I just want to see if, you know, what we can do in and around that type of program to perhaps offer rewards for when we have serious crimes or homicides that happen in our city to, you know, shake the tree, whatever we got to do, but arrest these people that are committing these type of heinous crimes in our city. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to take? All right, so if not at this point, and this will be my last city council, or actual council means that I will officially say I will move to adjourn.
Mayor, before you go, yes, thank you. Thank you for all the years that you have served the city of Baldwin Park. We've had good time. Well, I can't say I had a downtime with you. I never did. So, so we've always gotten along. Thank you for all the years you put into Baldwin Park. as everything, sometimes things have to end, but I really appreciate everything you did and your friendship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will be sharing my words on December the 2nd on my birthday before.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, we still have a housing authority, I believe.
Yes, no, but we're gonna.
Oh, okay.
Under public
Mayor, will we have an opportunity to give remarks at your December 2nd?
I'll make it possible. Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Then
Mayor-
I will wait until then.
Oh, wait till then.
Yeah,
And
that's-
Ms. Ayala, thank you so much as well for being city clerk. You know what it's like to be a city clerk and run. I don't know if you were part of the elections, but maybe not because you were running, but thank you for your service as a city clerk and as a council member as well. I will be seeing you because we work for the same school district.
Thank you.
And Alejandra, thank you for those beautiful words. We will continue to be friends and continue to work as well. All right. So at this point,
Mayor,
yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Councilmember Gina Yala.
I just want to second your motion for adjournment.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you much. All right. So at this point, I'll go ahead and open up the finance authority. We have the consent calendar, treasurer's report. I'll go ahead and move for the treasury report. That is my motion.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Hernandez. Any objections? See none, so moved. At this point, I'll go ahead and move for the finance authority adjournment. That's my motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? See none, so moved. All right. Thank you very much. All right. At this point, I'd like to open up the one more, please. The housing authority. The housing authority, and we have consent calendar items 1, 2, 3. That is my motion.
Second.
Any objection? Seen so not. So we're seconded by Vice Mayor Hernandez. So at this point, I will go ahead and move for adjournment of the housing authority.
Second.
Second, any objection? Seen none, so moved. All right. So that's for the adjournment, right? Did I get that right? Right. First of all, thank you, everyone. Viva Baldwin Park, and we will see you on December the 2nd, my last official transition. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Night.